Hello again, it's Ruth. Come and sit with me, because today I'm going to talk about something I almost never see anyone talk about honestly, our hair, the thinning of it. I'm going to do something the polished hair videos never do. I'm going to be straight with you about my own, because here's the truth that took me a long while to say out loud. My hair is fine, and it has thinned, the way so many of ours quietly does after 50. It sits flatter than it used to. I can see more of my scalp at the part than I'd like. And for the longest time, I felt I had to either hide that or pretend it wasn't happening, and I'm done with both. If you've stood at the mirror and watched your scalp show through where it never used to and felt that little drop in your stomach, I am right here with you. You are not alone in this, not even a little. So here is what I've actually learned. And I want to promise you, before we even begin, that this is not about growing a thick, young head of hair back, because I won't lie to you and tell you that a styling trick can do that. This is about making the hair you do have look fuller, livelier, and beautifully styled, which it absolutely can. And stay with me to the fifth one, because it's the single trick that changed everything for me, and it's the one almost every woman misses. Let's give your hair back some life. Now, you know what I always say. I am not a hairdresser. I'm not a stylist. I have no training of any kind. I'm just a woman with fine, thinning hair who got tired of feeling defeated by it and started paying close attention to what actually works. So these are not rules. They're the things that helped me, passed along from a friend who's standing at the same mirror. Take what's useful and leave the rest. And let me tell you why this happens to us, plainly. Because once you understand it, the tricks make so much more sense. Two things change after 50. The strands themselves get finer, each individual hair a little thinner than it was, so the same number of hairs simply takes up less room. And our scalp makes a little less of its natural oil, which sounds like it'd be a good thing, but that oil gave hair its body and grip. So without it, our hair goes slippery and flat and won't hold a shape. So we're fighting two battles at once, finer strands and less grip. Now look at what every one of these tricks does. They all add back either fullness or grip. Once you see it that way, you stop reaching for the wrong things, the heavy smoothing serums that fight you, and start reaching for lift and texture, which is exactly what's gone missing. The first thing, and it starts before any styling, is the cut. This one matters more than anything else, so listen close. When our hair thins, the instinct is to grow it long, because long feels like more. It's the opposite. Long, fine hair pulls down with its own weight, goes limp, and shows every thin patch. And all those soft little feathery layers we were given in the 90s just make thin hair look thinner and wispier at the ends. What actually creates the look of fullness is a blunt cut. Blunt ends cut straight across rather than tapered, so the very bottom looks dense and solid, and blunt layers up top, all one length, not thinned and razored. A good cut for fine hair, often a chin-to-shoulder blunt bob, makes the hair you have look like so much more. When I finally found a young stylist named B who understood this, who stopped thinning my ends to blend and started cutting them blunt, I could not believe the difference. Same amount of hair, twice the look of it. The second thing is the product. And oh, this is where so many of us go wrong with the best of intentions. We reach for rich oils and heavy serums and thick creams, the ones promising shine and smoothness, and on fine hair, they are the kiss of death. They coat each strand, weigh it down flat against the scalp, and make thin hair look greasy and even thinner. What fine hair wants is the lightest possible touch. A light, volumizing mousse or a weightless lifting gel, the kind made to add body without weight, worked through damp hair from the roots. There are lovely, lightweight ones made exactly for this. The rule is simple. The lighter the product, the fuller the hair. Heavy is the enemy of volume, every time. The third thing is how you dry it. And this is where the real magic of fullness is made. Do not just flip your head over and rough dry it, and please don't smooth it flat with a flat iron, because flat is exactly what we're fighting. Take a round brush, a medium one, and dry your hair in sections, lifting each section up and away from your scalp at the root as you dry it, pointing the dryer right at the root. You're trying to bake lift into the very base of the hair. And here is the little tool that changes it. That cold shot button on your hair dryer, the one we all ignore. When a section is warm and dry and lifted on the brush, hit it with the cold shot for a few seconds before you slide the brush out. The cold sets the shape exactly like setting a curl and locks that root lift in so it lasts all day, warm to shape, cold to set. That one habit is worth more than any product. Let me pause and say the thing I always need to say, because it matters more than any of the tricks. Your worth has not thinned along with your hair, not one bit. You are not less of a woman, less lovely, less worth looking at, because your hair isn't what it was at 30. On the days I do nothing with mine and just tuck it behind my ears, I am still me, still here, still glad to be the age I am. This isn't about fixing something shameful. It's about having a few good tricks for the mornings you want your hair to feel like a crown again. Both things are allowed to be true. The fourth thing is dry shampoo, and I want you to throw out the idea that it's only for greasy second-day hair. For fine hair, dry shampoo is a volume tool, and I use a little every single day, even on freshly washed hair. Here's why. It adds a bit of grip and texture right at the root, and texture is what fine, slippery hair desperately lacks. Lift your hair in sections, give a tiny shot of dry shampoo right at the roots. Not all over, just the roots, and then gently touzle it with your fingertips. Suddenly, there's body where there was none, and your style holds for hours instead of falling flat by lunchtime. A little goes a long way, so go light, but make it a daily friend. It's the cheapest volume you'll ever buy. Now, the fifth thing, the one I promised you, the one almost every woman misses, and the one that genuinely changed everything for me. It is this: stop parting your hair in the exact same place every single day and learn to set your roots in the opposite direction. Here's what I mean, and it's so simple. Where you've parted your hair the same way for 20 years, the hair has learned to lie down flat and the scalp shows through most right there. So 2 things. First, switch your part. Move it half an inch or to the other side entirely. The hair that's been trained to lie flat suddenly has to stand up, and that alone gives you instant lift and covers the thin part you were worried about. And second, the real secret. When you blow dry, dry your roots, lifting them in the opposite direction from the way you'll actually wear it. And let them cool that way before you flip your hair back over to where it belongs. So, if you part on the left and wear it falling left, dry the roots, pushing everything to the right, let it cool, then flip it left. Those roots, set standing up the wrong way and then flipped back, give you height you would not believe from the same thin hair. I wear it lifted one direction for a few days, then switch. That flip and cool trick is the whole game, and I went 50 years never knowing it. Try it once and you'll never part your hair on autopilot again. The 6th thing is about color, because this one fools the eye in a wonderful way. A single, very dark, flat color is the unkindest thing you can do to thinning hair, because dark hair against a paler scalp makes every bit of scalp show through like ink on paper. If you have fine hair and you can see your scalp, going very dark will shout about it. What helps instead is dimension. A few softer, lighter pieces woven through, some gentle highlights, or a softer overall tone closer to your scalp color blurs the line between hair and scalp so the thinness simply disappears to the eye. You don't have to go blonde. You just want to close the gap between the color of your hair and the color of your scalp So there's no stark contrast to give the thinness away. Softer and lighter, near the part especially, and the scalp stops showing. And the seventh, which is really about protecting what you've got, because fine hair is fragile and we are often rougher with it than we realize. No tight ponytails or clips pulling at the same spot day after day, because that tension thins the hairline further over time, and a receding hairline ages us fast. Be gentle when it's wet, when it's at its most breakable, and don't drag a brush right down to the scalp the way we were taught as girls, because on fine hair that just snaps it and flattens all the lift you worked for. Brush lightly over the top to smooth and leave the roots alone. A satin pillowcase instead of cotton saves a surprising amount of breakage and tugging while you sleep. And resist washing it every single day because that strips it and flattens it. These small kindnesses keep more hair on your head, looking fuller for longer. Now, I want to be honest with you about two things people sell us, because you'll see them everywhere, and I don't want you wasting your money on the wrong one. The first is those little tinted scalp powders and root touch-up sprays, the ones that color the scalp to match your hair so the bare patches stop showing. And I'll tell you plainly, these actually work and beautifully. A few presses of a scalp powder in your shade right along the part where the scalp shows most closes that gap I told you about between hair color and scalp color, and the thinness simply vanishes to the eye. That's an honest yes from me. The second thing, the fiber powders you shake on that are meant to cling to each strand and look like more hair, those I'm more careful about. They can look wonderful in a photo and then smudge onto your collar or run in the rain, and on very fine hair, they can look a bit false up close. If you try them, go light and set them well, but don't believe the miracle adverts. A good cut and a switched part will do more reliably than a tub of fibers. And let me give you a little extra. For the mornings you've got somewhere to be and you want every bit of volume you can get. This is my day out routine, layered up. Start with the light mousse at the damp roots. Blow dry with the round brush, lifting and setting with the cold shot, section by section. Then, when it's dry, take the dry shampoo to the roots for grip. And here's the extra step just for special days. Very gently, with a fine comb, just tease a tiny bit at the crown. Right at the roots, the lightest back combing only at the base where no one sees it. Then smooth the top layer over it with your hand. That hidden little cushion of teased hair at the crown holds everything up high for hours. A light mist of hairspray held a good distance away, lifting underneath rather than flattening on top, and you've got volume that'll last through a lunch and a long chat after. Just be gentle with the teasing. A little is plenty, because we're protecting this hair, not punishing it. I'll confess something that still makes me laugh at myself. For years, on the days my hair fell flat, I'd just pull it back into a tight little clip, scraped off my face thinking that looked tidy and done. And of course, that's the very worst thing. It pulls at the thinning hairline. It shows every bit of scalp, and a severe scraped back style on a mature face adds years and a sternness I never felt. The day I learned to do the opposite, to add lift and softness around the face instead of yanking it all back, I looked in the mirror and saw myself again. Funny how we so often do the exact thing that works against us, with the best of intentions, simply because nobody ever showed us another way. So let's gather it all up the way we do. Get a blunt cut, blunt ends, and blunt layers, and let the long feathery layers go. Use the lightest product you can find and keep the heavy oils far away. Blow dry lifting at the root and set that lift with the cold shot button. Use a little dry shampoo at the roots every day for grip and body. Switch your part and learn the flip and cool trick, which is the one most women never discover. Add some softness and dimension to your color so your scalp stops showing through. And be gentle with the fragile hair you have, because keeping it is half the battle. Not one of those things asks you to have different hair than you've got. Every one of them just makes the hair you have look like more. One more gentle thought before we finish, about the front, because the hair around your face is doing more work than any other piece. As we thin, the hairline and the temples often go first, and that's the very place that frames everything. A soft, longer piece left around the face, or a gentle curtain fringe swept to the sides does something lovely. It draws the eye to your eyes and your cheekbones and away from the part and the crown entirely. It's not about hiding. It's about deciding where you want the eye to land and sending it somewhere flattering. A wispy, hard fringe cut straight across can look thin and sparse, so ask for soft and longer, something you can tuck or sweep, and let it frame your face like a soft curtain. It takes years off, and it works with thinning, not against it. And be patient with yourself as you learn all this, because the first time you try the round brush and the cold shot and the flip, you'll feel like you've grown 3 extra thumbs. I certainly did. I waved that dryer around like I'd never held one and ended up with one side flat and one side standing on end. Give it a week or 2. Your hands learn it the way they learn everything. And then it takes you 5 minutes and becomes the most natural thing in the world. Don't judge the whole idea by the clumsy first morning. None of us were graceful at it on day 1. My friend Carol, who has finer hair than mine and felt just as low about it, did the switch the part trick and the cold shot setting on a Sunday afternoon, just playing in the mirror. She sent me a photo and I gasped. I truly did. Same hair, but lifted and full and alive, and her whole face had lit up because of it. She said she'd spent years thinking she just had to accept looking flat and thin, and it turned out she'd only ever needed 2 little tricks nobody had told her. That's the part that gets me, every time. So much of feeling defeated about our hair isn't the hair at all. It's just not having been shown the small things that change it. So you tell me down in the comments. Is your hair fine or thinning? Or both, like mine? And which of these are you going to try first? Be honest with me. We're all in the same boat here, and I read every single one. We're figuring our hair out together, you and me both. You're not too old for any of this. You're just getting started. Be kind to your reflection. I'll see you next time.